that are out there on social media, you can see that I am joined here in studio by a very special guest. And this very special guest is my producer and social media manager, Jeff Burson. Rich Jesse is filling in for him today, and he will be producing the program as well as receiving your comments out there in social media land. Matthew Gubensky on the phones. Why is my producer sitting in studio with me right now? Well, because my producer is retiring. And today is his last day after 37 years of service here at EWTN. Now, we both have a box of Kleenexes sitting here on our table. And Jeff and I have known each other for the 35 years that I've been here.
That's correct.
And we have worked together in a variety of ways in the past through various different positions that you've held here at the network. I've remained constant in my position, but you have changed positions a number of times. But in every one of those times, we've had opportunity to interact. So my dear friend, good buddy, brother of the soul, is spending his last day and has graciously consented to being my guest. I've tried to get you into this seat a number of times, and you have never said yes. But today, his boss, my husband, said he was going to be in this seat, and I'm so glad. And I want you to call in. And share your well wishes with Jeff today. Again, that's 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. That's the way that you can join us live here in North America on our toll-free number. And we're available for you out there in social media land. And, the funny thing is, Jeff, when you think about it for a moment, the people that call in really have never had an opportunity to interact with you because Matthew Gubensky is our call screener, and before him, Ryan Penny, right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, but when it comes to opportunity to interact with social media people, you do, because you're the one that has gone out there and retrieved their comments and put them up. And I know that you send little messages back to them.
That's correct.
So you out there in social media land, you've had personal interaction with Jeff, and we're hoping that all of you, either by phone call or by social media, will call in. We would love that, or send us a message via social media for Jeff. I want to spend some time talking with you though, because Mother flipped the switch on August 15th of 1981.
Correct.
So if my math is right, me having come here in, 88, actually 87, but starting with the network in 88 in a capacity of doing programming, you preceded me by 2 years. So that means that you arrived here right around 86 or 85 or 86, right?
Right. Near 87 is actually when it is. It's really 36 and a half years is really what it is. I like to think that I've worked 37 Christmases. So it's really 36 and a half. It's almost 37 years.
Well, I'm going to give you the other 6 months.
I appreciate it.
For me, it's been 37 years. So, yeah, that's a long time. So we arrived here at the network just about, the same time,
right,
in the sense of where the network was. And we've seen abundant changes.
Right.
So share with us a little bit of your 37-year history.
What's really amazing is looking at you and remembering the times that I saw you for the very first time, because at that time I was working in master control, which is a part of engineering, which basically, for those who want to know, it's behind the scenes. It's the people who are basically the DJs or television, who play the tapes, who do the live programs and get you on the air. And I was part of that department when I first started. And, of course, being the low man on the totem pole, I worked the midnight to 8 shift. And so what was amazing is sometimes I would see you working at midnight. You and your team would be there at that time working and doing in the production room, because part of my job was to get the programs in from out of house that we had and then dub them over so that we could go and air them when we wanted to, or do editing as well. So I can remember your team being there at night, and so that was some of the first introductions of you being at the network.
And that's interesting that you mentioned that, because, yes, we've got this long history here at EWTN. And back in the day when I first came, our program was, well, we initially did 3 13-week series for the network, and then we did The Abundant Life beginning in '93.
Right.
But in all of those cases, we did a lot of interviews on location. And so we would have, video that needed to be edited. And back in the day, it wasn't digital.
No.
It was all linear. And so, I mean, we've got, hey, we're old.
Yes, you had to have, the banks of the 1-inch tapes is what I remember.
That's what we had. And I mean, I don't think that, friends, if you've never, worked in television, you can't imagine how clumsy those things were. Even the cameras, you look at, old movies and stuff that'll have scenes of movies being made, and you see these guys riding around on these trucks and all this stuff. But that's the way that it was, really. And so the editing for these roll-ins would have to be done when we had access to the equipment. That was generally in the late night.
Hours of the morning, correct.
That's exactly right. And so it all had to be spliced together. I mean, it was crazy stuff that went on there. But that's interesting. So you first got to know me by video.
That's right.
Even though we were just, not too far away in those days, because things were much more compact,
Right.
steps away from each other. That's hysterical. Well, you hear that music. We're going to go to our break, and we are going to come right back with my producer, Jeff Burson. He's still my producer. Okay, he's my producer, even though Rich is sitting in for him for this show today. But after today, no. Jeff is going to be retiring, and we're going to find out a little bit about his plans for retirement. And we're looking forward to hearing from you. 833-288-EWTN. Send in your well wishes by phone or out there at EWTN Radio's YouTube channel and Facebook page. You can send them in by social media too. We're going to be right back, inviting you to join us here on this very special moment at Women of Grace Live.
This is Father Joseph Aitona from the Fathers of Mercy. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of life, especially the gift of your divine life you bestowed upon us during our baptism. We pray for a widened respect for life and an end to all forms of abortion. May those who are contemplating having an abortion experience your compassion and love, and may your church help those who are searching for answers in their time of need. We ask all these prayers through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
The most original Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
This week on EWTN News In Depth, reaction from bishops around the world to Pope Francis's document on blessings. And Dr. Joseph Capizzi, the first ever lay dean of theology at the Catholic University of America, goes on the record. Join us for EWTN News In Depth this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on EWTN Radio and television.
Are you a new listener to EWTN Radio? Welcome. We're here for you 24/7.
You'll hear live and interactive shows throughout the day to answer any questions you may have about the Catholic faith.
There's trustworthy news from a Catholic perspective.
And a large selection of podcasts available at EWTN's Podcast Central.
And, of course, the daily Mass, prayers, and everything you need to edify your soul.
Welcome to EWTN Radio. We're blessed to have you with us.
Hey Jeff, Sue Brinkman here. I'm going to miss you, buddy. You made Wacky Wednesday even wackier. And I mean that as a compliment. You have the patience of a saint, my friend. And the Lord truly blessed us all when He brought you into our lives and this very important work of the church. Have a blessed retirement, Jeff.
Hi, this is Charles Beery. producer of Called to Communion, wanting to wish Jeff Burson a happy retirement after 37 years of service to EWTN. Thanks, Jeff, for being an example of dedication and hard work. You will be missed.
Hi, Jeff. This is Elena Rodriguez. Congratulations on your retirement. Very seldom do we meet someone like you with your kindness, your work ethic, your generosity to encourage others to grow, your commitment to the mission, your wisdom, your standard of excellence, your openness to learn new technologies and to put in that hard work to learn well and to become the expert you are today. Very seldom in our lives do we meet someone like you who has taught us life lessons on how to survive adversity. Thank you for every day of selfless giving that you have offered God and us at EWTN. God has great gifts for you, Jeff, in your retirement, and God is going to amaze you beyond compare. I know you will not forget us, and we will never forget you. Thank you, Mr. Jeff Burson, nice person. God bless you and reward you.
Hi, this is Tom Price, Director of Programming and Production here at EWTN Radio. I'm delighted for the opportunity to say a few words on behalf of my friend Jeff. Jeff was one of the first people I met when I joined up here in 1997. He had already been here for a decade. Jeff's always gone the extra mile to help people, including his producers here at the network, with social media, questions about computers, and doing the juggling that we all have to do to bring you great Catholic programming every day. More than that, I will personally miss seeing Jeff every day as my office mate and dear friend. Jeff, don't be a stranger. Come back and see us.
Hi, this is Judy Ranelli, prehistoric creature from the very beginnings of EWTN, or really just the early 1990s, where Jeff Burson was one of my first supervisors when I was in master control for television. Jeff and I have been such great buddies over the years, and I am going to miss him so much. I can't even express who I'm going to talk to about how great the Beatles are without having Jeff there to talk to. And so, yeah, Jeff, I'm going to miss you.
Jeff Burson worked on Register Radio for so many years, it is very difficult for me to imagine producing the show without him. He served us all with his flexibility, quick wit, excellent ideas, and cultural sense, as well as his veteran expertise in radio. Not to mention, he's been at EWTN since the earliest days of Mother Angelica's broadcasting. But most of all, Jeff served us with his quiet and vibrant faith. His retirement is long deserved, so from the staff of the National Catholic Register, Catholic News Agency, and myself, Johnnette DeMello, host of Register Radio, I wish Jeff all the best. So long for now. We sure will miss you.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what, friends, for those of you that can't see us, those of you that can realize that already the tears are flowing here. What a beautiful tribute to you, Jeff, and how true. I would just want to say ditto to every single person that we've heard from. Some voices we haven't heard for a while. Right. Elena Rodriguez, still with EWTN, but out in Denver now. Right. She preceded you as my producer. Right. And some other individuals that whose paths we don't often have a chance to run into here at the network since we've grown so large. But all of them express something that's so true about you: your hard work, your dedication, your love of the faith, your love of EWTN, your personal love for Mother Angelica, and the way in which you have been an inspiration to those who have come after. So everything that was said is true. I have always considered it a privilege to call you friend. And you're welcome. It's interesting listening to Johnnette and listening to Judy. Judy is a stitch. I love Judy. I love them all. But listening to them, it reminds me of the fact that, you are one of the few employees that are left here. There's still a handful of us that Mother actually invited to be part of EWTN. Right. So share with us a little bit about who was Jeff Burson at that time and what was it like to have Mother invite you to be part of this great, great work of God?
Well, I started here at EWTN when we went 24 hours a day. Mm-hmm. When I was here a month before Mother pulled the switch for us to be on 24 hours a day, because at that time EWTN was on 6 to 8 hours at night, and that was it. And they were looking forward to the future of what the next step would be, and of course the next was to go 24 hours a day. So I was hired by I was hired by the engineering department to be a part of that overnight crew. And of course, during those days, it was just a small little handful of group who was here at EWTN. So I interviewed with the chief engineer, and then after that, I had to go get approved by Mother Angelica. And me not being a Catholic at the time, and in fact, I wasn't practicing my faith at all at that time. It was kind of scary for me to go into this cloister and this nun come up to me and talk to me, and once she reached out for her hand, and you know how that goes, Johnnette. Once you reach out and you grab Mother's hand, I think the way that she knew to hire you is if you held it and then pulled back. I let her hold it as long as she wanted to. As she sat there and talked to me, she held my hand the entire time, and I let her be part of me, I guess, during that time. And at the end, she told the chief engineer at the time, who was Gary O'Donovan, to hire me.
Yeah.
And so, so during those early days, we would see Mother, and it was so funny because there would be programs that would sometimes go through QC department. And of course, at the time, we were in the middle of the night, and you would not think that Mother would be awake in the middle of the night, and she would call sometimes and go, that program said something that wasn't quite right. I need you to pull it down. And
so tell us what QC is.
Oh, sorry. That's Quality Control Department.
There you go.
That's the Quality Control Department. So basically, as a lot of people will probably know, I mean, it's the reason why you have to trust EWTN. It's because we have a department that sits there and watches every program, reads every book for a religious catalog, does everything along that line, so you know it is a Catholic and a solid doctrine that comes through us.
Yeah.
So,
and that was not unlike Mother. If she heard something that she thought was, even slightly off track, she would pull the whole program down. She wouldn't care. Right in the middle of the program, pull it off.
Middle of the program. You're gonna have a technical issue, honey. So okay, I understand, Mother, and you would just put it down and play a prayer or something along that line. Generally, the rosary would play during that time, so it was perfect for us to do. But but at that time, as I said, I started, and I wasn't Catholic, and so we were. And so in the middle of the night, you didn't have a whole lot to read, I guess. So somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody left the diary of St. Faustina. At the time, Sister Faustina.
Yes.
Because that's how long ago it was. It was the diary of Sister Faustina on a desk. And I picked it up going, well, let me read this and see what the deal is. Now, obviously, I had seen the Mass and had my questions because who worked with me was a gentleman and he was Catholic, and I would ask questions. But once I picked up that diary of Sister Faustina at the time, I said, something opened up in me, because growing up as a fire and brimstone Protestant, it didn't, I didn't really know what was going on, because as a father at the time, I love my children, and I love them unconditionally. And even though they did wrong, I still love them. And I was being taught that, be scared of God.
In your Protestant denomination.
In my Protestant denomination. Once I read St. Faustina's diary, it opened up a brand new world to me of a God of mercy, a God of forgiveness, a God of loving. And it opened my heart.
Wow.
And I started listening to what was being said that we were, broadcasting, and my heart opened up, and I had to go talk to, I talked to Mother, and I talked to the priests that were here at the time, Father Joseph, who was brother, talked to them, and I realized that that's where I needed to be. That was my home.
Yeah.
So it was a, awesome experience for me, and at that point, I think that just my faith grew, and I think my love of EWTN grew at that time, because then I really realized what the mission of EWTN was, and I think that's why I've been here for so long, because that grabbed me.
Well, it's so very true, friends, that may I say that the spirit of Mother Angelica remains here at the network, and by that I don't mean that in some crazy sense.
No.
It's just that everything is referred to how Mother built this culture this Catholic culture that gets communicated through television. And so that culture remains in place, and we look at everything through the Mother Angelica lens, you know. What would Mother do in this instance, you know? And every step that's taken here is considered from that perspective. So, you know, it's not unusual in religious orders that as religious orders grow, there's this constant reference to the founder. We're not a religious order, but we certainly are an apostolate. Our founderess is Mother Angelica. And so we always look back. She's the reference point for how it is that we run, we operate the programming that's chosen. And I think that's one of the reasons why, as you said so beautifully, Jeff, we can, we can honestly, what's the word that I want to say? We can honestly trust what comes out of this network. I know it has its detractors, but when you're here and you see how the sausage is made, you have a very different and very clear perspective of what is going on. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986 is the way that you can join us. We would love to hear from you today on this Jeff's final day as an employee of EWTN, but not as his final day as one who is loves EWTN and is loved by EWTN. And of course, I just want to echo what one of the beautiful colleagues of ours said, and that is that we hope that you will come back. I want to go to Michael. Michael is holding. He's out there in Fresno, California. We're happy he's with us. You can join him, 833-288-EWTN. You can also go out to social media land. EWTN Radio's YouTube channel, Facebook page is available for you there. Michael is with us via Fresno, California. Hey, Michael, how are you?
I am well, Johnnette. What an honor. About 8 years ago, Jeff asked me to be a monitor for YouTube, and I've been monitoring the show since then. But I have a funny story to tell. He used to charge me for telling jokes in chat. So he said, "You have 30 jokes a year. Now you have 29 left." And I said, "Okay, we'll keep track." And he kept track. But one day on Women of Grace, Wacky Wednesday, you and Sue Brinkman, you remember, we're talking about astral travelers. And I typed in chat, "Do astral travelers get frequent flyer miles?" And if you remember, both you and Sue laughed out loud. And
I
Jeff
remember
said,
that.
That's it. You can tell as many jokes as you want. I'm really going to miss Jeff. I also, with Jeff's help and permission, I created a fan page for EWTN Radio people. And so I've been posting the links that he sent me to this fan page so that if people who don't have Facebook who don't have problems with YouTube can go to our channel and click on the link and they can watch the show. And that's going to end it because I don't know if Mr. McCall or Ace are going to do that for me, but I appreciate if they could continue to send me the link if you can have Jeff arrange that. Jeff, I'm really going to miss you, man, but we're still friends on Facebook, so I'm going to be sending you silly, funny cartoons like I always have.
I expect it, Michael.
And Johnnette, would you do me a favor? You and Jeff, could you say a prayer for my neighbor Delia? He was in an auto accident in August.
Oh.
And she has issues with her neck. She has a pinched nerve in her neck, and they want to do surgery, but her insurance company is kind of pussyfooting around. And during our midnight mass, she's in our choir, and she is blanked out. She just passed out right in the middle of our mass. So if you would say a prayer for her, I would appreciate it.
Oh, well, Michael, I will tuck her into my rosary. I'm going to make a holy hour after the program today, so I'll take her with me in my heart. But it's Delia, correct?
Delia, Delia. Yeah. And Jeff, I just hope that your lovely bride Lise doesn't give you a honey-do list that's too overwhelming.
Too late.
I think that Lisa's been working on that for some time. I think it's quite extensive.
I can imagine. All righty. I'm going to go back to chat.
Michael?
Such an honor to talk to you, Johnny. I've been a fan of yours for many decades.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Michael,
stay there.
You still with us? I guess
he hung up. Oh, there he is.
Michael, love you, brother. Thank you for all your dedication. Michael is one of our new media missionaries here at EWTN.
Oh,
as well.
wonderful.
Yep.
So
I'm waiting for my first packet.
And so he's one of those. So that's something that everybody can do, and he has been such a blessing for us because he volunteers his time all these years. Michael has, and everyone else on there as well. I'm going to name everyone else on here as well. Michael, there's also Michael J. There's Shannon, who was our first moderator, and of course Anna Marie. Thank you, Anna Marie. I love you. And they are.
And don't forget Shannon.
That's Shannon.
He said
Shannon, the very first one.
First.
So
she was the very first one.
She was one of the first ones. So what these people do for us is they volunteer with their own time, and they have obviously there's people who are how would you say it, Michael? Trolls is what we call them jokingly. But what they do is they'll come in and they'll try and wreak havoc, say something negative, say something against the church, or we've even had people who have posted pornographic stuff on it. We've tried to stop that. And a lot of people don't see that because the moderators see it before it comes into chat. So Michael and his group have always stopped that. So thank you, Michael. Thank you,
Michael. Thank you. You're like a policeman.
That's right.
For us, and we appreciate it. And the fact of the matter is, Michael, individuals like yourself who do so much work for the network as volunteers are truly unsung heroes.
Right.
Because I think we were talking about quality control just a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
That quality control it has extended now into this whole social media area and the need for it. So we're greatly appreciative for all that you do for Women of Grace and the other programming here on EWTN. And we salute you for that. And be assured of our prayers. And Delia's going with me, and you can tell Delia that. I would appreciate it, Michael. And we thank you so much for your call. Hey, friends, you hear that music? We're going to a break, but I really want to hear from you, too. This is Jeff's last day with us as producer. He's retiring. I have been not looking forward to this date since he told me about his retirement a few weeks ago, maybe before Christmas sometime. But all of that being said, I'm delighted that he's sitting here in studio with me today. Give us a call here. Give Jeff your well wishes for him and his retirement. 833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. And of course, social media available to you too. Coming right back. Stay with us.
Well, we're ready to ring in the new year as 2024 gets underway. What are the great conversations we can be having that can help expand our faith and understanding of God for the new year? I am Ace McKay, your host for Catholics Coast to Coast, where we're going to have those conversations. And this week, we're going to talk about what are the reasons why we suffer and what happens if your boyfriend is called to be a priest. So join me for Catholics Coast to Coast tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
This is Jeff Burson, producer of Women of Grace with Johnnette Williams. Have a safe and blessed New Year's from all of us here at EWTN Radio.
Join Archbishop Jose Gomez in sharing the good news.
The celebration of the New Year is always a time for making resolutions. It seems to me that making resolutions also expresses the virtue of hope, a confidence that with God's grace, He will help us to grow. These resolutions, this desire to do better in every single aspect of our lives should help us to be more aware of the presence of God in our lives. If we feel and we are aware of the presence of God in our lives every single moment of our lives, or at least as often as we can, then our life is much better, because we have God's love and presence in our lives.
Visit lacatholics.org to find ways to connect with our faith community in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles.
This is EWTN, Catholic Radio.
Hi, this is Dr. David Anders. There are a lot of misconceptions about the Catholic faith. We clear them up on Call to Communion, coming up this afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio. Now, back to Women of Grace with Johnnette Williams.
Hi, I'm Tom Gray, and I'd like to wish my colleague Jeff Burson congratulations on his upcoming retirement. Hey, Jeff, now every day will be Friday. How cool is that? You'll be missed.
Hello, everybody. Did you recognize that greeting, Jeff? If not, this is your former co-worker. Yes, it's me, Angelica, and I wanted to send you this message because it's such a special moment in your life. I know you will be missed at EWTN. I remember you shared with me stories of Mother Angelica, of the beginning of EWTN, treasures that I still remember. I want to wish you happiness, peace, and adventures. Many more adventures with your loved Lisa, because you guys really know how to enjoy life. Keep seeing the bright side of life, Jeff, as I notice that you did it in many situations. Cuídate mucho, Jeff. Todo lo mejor para ti en tu retiro. Con cariño, saludos desde Miami. Bye.
Hi, this is H. McKay, producer from Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and Catholics Coast to Coast. I just want to wish a very happy retirement to Mr. Jeff Burson as one of my favorite people to talk music with and also to share in faith and experiences. He's an amazing guy and he will be greatly missed. So retire and rest for the rest of us. And Jeff, we miss you, buddy.
Hey, everybody, it's Doug Archer from EWTN Radio Spanish. Jeff Burson has been a pillar at EWTN going back over 3 decades. He has served EWTN in so many different capacities over the years, and there's no question that he has left his mark on this network. Jeff, we will miss you, and I wish you all the best as you open this new chapter in your life.
I'm wishing you the best, my friend. And if you think that you're going to have time to travel and do whatever you want, good luck with that, because you already have a long honey-do list and a lot of babysitting time. I'm praying that you survive this new stage in your life. Have fun, my friend. Enjoy, and may God bless you always.
Hi, this is Doug Keck, President and Chief Operating Officer here at EWTN Television and Radio. I wanted to take a moment to thank Jeff Burson for his years of great work here at EWTN, whether it was in satellite transmission or working on the EWTN web in the early days or his time at radio. Wherever Jeff was needed, he was there doing a great job. And a jack of all trades and master of all of them. He will truly be missed. Wishing Jeff Burson a very happy retirement. Thanks, Jeff.
Oh, so many beautiful well wishes. And, you know, the lovely thing about having served this many years at EWTN, Jeff, is that everybody has such wonderful memories of you, right? And I think what Doug Keck said there in that last clip was so very, very true. You know, you have been one of those employees that was always, you know, a willing participant in whatever the need was, right? And you filled many, many positions throughout the 37 years. And as Doug Keck remarked, you always, always have done them absolutely beautifully and with the maximum potential that God's entrusted to you. And that's quite a gift in and of itself.
It's amazing. I was thinking about that this morning, all the different positions that I've worked at. I've worked at EWTN for, like I said, almost 37 years, but I have been in so many different departments. I've been in engineering. From there, I went into production. I've been in marketing. And, of course, I helped develop the EWTN website. And also, those of you who are watching us on YouTube and Facebook, I helped to create those avenues to be able to do that. In the early days, before there was high-speed internet, you had to do dial-up.
Oh, golly gee,
so
that's
you
true.
had to, for us to be able to have the programs on streaming. It was an old program called Real Audio way back then.
Oh, I remember that.
It sounded like AM radio does, and not for affiliates. It's really the bad AM radio.
Not the good stuff.
Not the good stuff.
Not what we have now.
But it was exactly. But it was all that stuff that I helped create and everything. And now God put me in radio. It was whatever the need was at the time. I just felt called to go into the next step. So
that's right. Yeah. And isn't that the beautiful thing? Because, you've had the opportunity to see the many facets of EWTN. You've really, I made that comparison to, sausage being made. You've really seen the ingredients that have made EWTN what it is, and something that I think meets the spiritual hunger and the spiritual need with great satisfaction that people are longing for today.
I think one of the most blessed things that I have seen in this time is the creation of the daily mass every day. Because when we first started, it was a recording mass from California. That was the only mass that we had at the time. Occasionally, of course, we did our live programs. Whenever we did something live from Washington, D.C., we would see the mass from there, but there was no daily mass.
Yes.
And when we first started, I was in charge of the production trucks. We had 2 different trucks here at EWTN that would follow different live proceedings, such as when Pope John Paul II was traveling. I was able to go travel that as well in the production trucks. But at the time when we wanted to do the live mass, we had the production trucks here in the parking lot here at EWTN.
I had forgotten about all that,
Yeah.
but I remember now they mentioned it.
And so you had to get up early in the morning and have manned cameramen inside the chapel.
Which is not a big chapel.
Not
It
a
looks
big
big on
chapel.
television, but it's
No.
very small.
Exactly. So you had 3 to 4 people inside that chapel, as well as the people who were there for Mass and the sisters at the time. So
it was quite an ordeal.
It was very much an ordeal. And once we started doing that and we saw what the need was, and everyone loved having a daily mass, because we started it because of the war at the time in Iraq, and that's the reason why we started it. And then once everyone loved it, and we go, I remember Mother saying, this is what we need. This is the next ingredient for EWTN. And now it's just what everybody knows of EWTN. I mean, think about what would not have happened if we had not been doing that during the lockdown, when no one was able to go to Mass.
Oh, I know.
The churches closed down. I think a lot of people discovered EWTN during that time.
Well, I think that you're absolutely right. As a matter of fact, I know that you're right because we received calls and letters regarding that, and people were unaware of what EWTN is all about. And it's interesting how, God takes all things, and this is something we always need to remember, and you've seen this so true in your own life, Jeff. God takes all things and he works them to the good. And situations and circumstances, even tragedies. I mean, during your time here at EWTN, you lost a daughter. You and I have commiserated time and again about losing a child. And we're always very observant of each other's anniversary dates. And it's been a custom of yours that on the anniversary date of your daughter's death, you take off. You take a personal day that day. It brings tears to my eyes, really, to think about. But the fact of the matter is, God does work all things to the good. And one of the goods that came out of COVID was the fact that so many people found EWTN, and their faith has been increased, certainly through that period of time. But since then, too, I remember the exciting moment when, and just so that you all kind of understand, we don't have, live man-operated cameras in the chapel anymore.
No.
We have robotic cameras.
Right.
I remember when those robotic cameras were being implemented. I mean, what a big step forward. Technically, that was. Not just for EWTN, but really for television in general. We've come further distances since then.
Right. Let's talk about another time that was very important for EWTN, and I was so blessed to see, and that was when Mother was healed.
Oh, yes. Share with everyone about that.
Oh, my Lord, it was just amazing to think about. I remember coming in, and I remember being here that morning, and there was an announcement by one of the nuns over the speakers at EWTN saying, everyone come to the carport. Everyone come to the carport. Because at that time, the sisters were here on the ground, and there was a carport where if you remember, the station wagons that the sisters had. And we all were there, and the next thing we know, Mother's walking out. And doesn't have her crutches. And we're going, Mother's not using her crutches. And the next thing you know, she's dancing.
Oh, my gosh.
And, all of us who have been close to Mother for that long period of time, I mean, I had one-on-one meetings with Mother a long time, because when I was in engineering, I was a chief engineer. And for me to see this lady who I'd seen suffering all these years suddenly dancing around and hugging everybody. And, I can remember, and I'm sure you remember that first time you hugged her after she had the back brace off.
Oh, that was a funny feeling, really.
It was because I would have hugged her so many times, and I would always feel the plastic
yes.
back brace. And she reached out and she hugged me, and I'm going, it was just a miracle. It was a miracle. It was gone. It was amazing for that to happen. And that was just one of those moments here that, there's plenty of moments like that here.
Oh, yeah, but that was really spectacular. Now, I was not up here at that time because up until I married Jack, I resided in Florida. And so I would fly up, several times a year, usually around 8 times a year, sometimes more than that, sometimes a time or two less than that. And we would produce shows. We would produce 25 television shows in a week. I did radio from home there in Florida. And but I remember after that happened that she appeared on Life on the Rock. The first host was Jeff Cavins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, and I could have my times wrong, but I think that aired on Thursday evenings. I think Mother Was Healed on a Wednesday night.
Correct.
And so that very next night, probably the evening of the day that you saw her, walking out there into that carport without crutches and a back brace, that night she was on Life on the Rock with Jeff, and they danced around that set. And that was just, it was an overwhelming thing to see, especially for those of us who had known Mother and knew the suffering. And I remember one really funny thing that Mother said. I see if you remember this. She said, well, she said, after I was healed, she said, I always had trouble with my feet. And I found out that after I was healed, I found out that the reason why I had trouble with my feet was because my shoe size was a size too small. But she never realized that, right? Well, then what happened after she said that on the air, people began to send her shoes.
I have forgotten about that.
It's so funny. So she started to receive all of these shoes, and she came back on and said, look, I don't need any more shoes.
I remember.
Oh, my golly. Because you remember that those leg braces were attached to her shoes, right? I have no idea how those things are manufactured or all, but my guess is that, when she wore out those shoes, she would just have them remade and never bothered to check what size she was wearing. Anyway, we've experienced, right, so many different things like that, and you take these as all treasured memories, into your heart. Maybe you'll write a book. That'd be great. Write a book for EWTN Publishing, My Life with Mother Angelica.
There are
by Jeff
so
Burson.
many stories that are not just my stories, but there are many employees here who have stories that are, wonderful. And to be able to tell, I can tell intimate stories that will make you cry. I can tell you stories that will make you laugh. And there's just as many people here who can do the same thing.
Yeah. Well, we've been outrageously privileged people to participate in this apostolic work and to have known Mother. And, you're mentioning all of the people, and there are many other people who have well wishes for you, too. So we're going to listen to some of those right now.
This is Michael McCall, producer of EWTN's Open Line, and there's so many things I can say about Jeff Burson, a lot of things I shouldn't say about Jeff Burson. The main thing, though, that I would like to say is there aren't that many people in my life that I consider mentors, but Jeff is definitely one of them. I've learned a lot from him, but most importantly, I've learned how to be a better man and a more godly man, and how to turn to God in times of trouble and have that steadfast faith that Jeff shows every day. And I will miss him, but I'm so happy for him and for Lisa and their family, and I just wish you all the best, and I love you, and God bless you.
Jeff Burson, you are and always will be one of my favorite people. When I first got here to EWTN, we worked together. I know you were the first person here to realize how important social media was going to become, much to your own peril. You, on your own initiative, made a beautiful Saints database, which has been so helpful to so many people. And you were always able to advise me not only what was possible to do technically, but what was advisable to do technically. Since we no longer work together, you've become something more important, and that's a true friend. You are one of those rare people, solid, dependable, giving, kind, and I want you to know that I treasure our friendship and that I wish you the best as you go forward in this new chapter of your beautiful life. Godspeed, my friend.
This is Matt Gubensky, EWTN radio call screener, and I want to tell you all how I'm appreciative of Jeff Burson and the 10 years that I've gotten to call him a friend. Ever since I got here, he was a source of joy who I didn't know much about, worked across the hall, but then a few years later, he came into the radio department, and I learned a lot more about Jeff, but in learning a lot more about Jeff, I came to learn a lot more about mother, about life, about communications, and about how God works and what God has in mind for EWTN and the mission here. And I wanted to thank Jeff for all he's done for each and every one of us and all of the viewers and listeners. Jeff, you'll be greatly missed. Thank you so much for everything.
Hello, this is Rich Jesse, producer and production coordinator here at EWTN Radio, wishing Jeff Burson the greatest of transitions on into the next part of his life with his wonderful wife, Lisa, and a happy retirement here from EWTN. So grateful for what you've done for me in your friendship and also being a great coworker. Jeff is always such a great advocate for his friends and his coworkers. And just such a great example for the mission here at EWTN. And we're going to miss you very much, brother.
This is Deborah Rice, Radio Affiliate Coordinator. Over 37 years ago, an extraordinary man met with our very own Mother Angelica, and she knew he was destined to be part of her mission. Since then, Jeff Burson has served whenever and wherever he was asked, all with graciousness and commitment to Mother and his fellow EWTN employees. Jeff, it has been amazing to be able to work with you and be your friend. I wish you and your lovely wife a happy retirement. May God and Mother Angelica be with you in all your new adventures.
This is Jack Williams, General Manager of EWTN Radio. It would be almost impossible to write the history of EWTN without Jeff Burson, whether it comes to engineering, radio, online services, developing the initial website. Jeff's fingerprints are all over all of this. He will be greatly missed. Jeff, we will miss you tremendously, and as I've told you before, we'll miss you for your expertise and all that you do from a task workload standpoint, but we'll miss you for who you are more than anything else. Best of luck to you and your lovely wife, and I hope that God brings you everything that you're hoping for.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know. You've got tears in your eyes. You've had tears in your eyes since I've walked in the door, which I'm sure preceded me. Just coming in here and looking around the studio and knowing, well, this is the last time that your fingerprints are going to be in this studio, unless you come back to be a guest again in the future.
You know, I was thinking this morning that I have gone through 5 houses and 11 cars since I've been here at this one place. Yes. And that's one of those things you look back on and go, okay, I've always driven to this one spot, for work for 37 years, and I've been to different houses and different routes to get here.
Yes.
And the same thing in regards to and the vehicle that I drove to get here has always been different. So that's just.
It's an amazing thing, and think about that. I mean, that's the better part of your life,
25 years old when I came here.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God. Well, he's just revealed his age. You can do the math on
do
that.
Do the math.
Yeah, but think about that for a moment, really and truly. And, in our culture today and in our work world, that's a very unusual thing that anybody stays with an organization much beyond 3 or 4 years. So the fact that you've been here for that length of time speaks to the integrity of the place where we work, because this isn't work. This is mission. I don't think that any of us look at this, I got to go to work today. We don't look at it that way. This is, it's a whole nother mindset with regard to how we approach it.
There have been things that you go on with EWTN in regards to the ups and downs. I have seen us when things have been very, very well, still keep us between your gas and electric bill.
Right.
But I have seen us when we have been at the lowest.
Oh.
I have seen it where mother was sitting there and going, we need to have this amount of money.
Listen, I remember times, and was told about these times when Bill Seltemeyer would dig into his own pocket and make payroll.
I've got one.
Right?
I've got one of those checks.
Yeah. So, this was built on the, what do I want to say, on the firm assurance that people knew that God was about something tremendous. And everybody, has striven, is that a word? We've strove to make it continue. Debbie just clicked in, when we're coming close to the end of the show here on Women of Grace, and it's true for all of the shows, the next group that's coming on generally log in so we can see each other. At least, technically we don't see each other physically in terms of image. But she's saying, Jeff, we love you. We just have a couple and we do love you, Jeff. And I love you. We talk about all of the fact that we have a deep, deep friendship. We're brothers and sisters. We're a brother and a sister in Christ Jesus, and we love each other dearly. We just have a couple of minutes left, and I just can't let you go without asking you, what are you going to do now? What are your plans? Everybody's talking about adventures. I'm thinking, what is he going to do? I mean, do you have big plans?
I plan on getting on my recliner and watching old episodes of The Abundant Life and Women of Grace.
No, I know. He's losing his mind.
I'm working when those shows are on, Johnnette. So
that is hysterical.
No, basically, the idea is, and I'll let a little secret out here, and I ask for everybody's prayers. My wife has some health issues.
Yes, she does.
And so I'm going to be home with her because it's time. There is a time when a husband and wife call and talk to each other, and we like to call it couch time at our house. We get on the couch and we talk about serious things. We looked ahead and looked at what's going to be happening in the future, and we said, okay, it's time for me to retire. It's time for me to be able to spend time with her because this is going to be the time for us to do it. We're going to be able to do what we need to do, and that's it. I'm going to be with my wife, and we're going to travel some.
Well, I think that's a wonderful thing, and I know that God is going to bless you in all of your endeavors, and you know that I have you tucked into my rosary. You're always going to be there, but just don't be a stranger. You're in Birmingham, and we're in Birmingham, and we need to stay in touch. And I know all of you will want to see him from time to time, so I'm going to ask him to come back. Maybe we'll just do like a regular little thing. What in the world is Jeff up to now? Kind of like a what in the world. Where in the world is Waldo? It's going to be where in the world is Jeff Burson? I love you, my friend.
Love you too.
Thank you so very, very much. And friends, we thank you for joining us today on this very, very special day in the life of Jeff Burson and in the life of Women of Grace Live and me personally. God bless you all now. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Debbie Georgiani. Adam